Welcome to WBCS TV Chieftain News Hour.
Today's show, we preview the upcoming boys and girls basketball seasons with Quentin Bible and Aiden Hartly.
Dylan Cable and Deja Wilson looks at the BHS new girls wrestling team with Coach Hyatt.
Reese Thomas talks about the positives of AC throughout BHS.
Plus, Drayden George sits down with Mr. Sigrist to talk about implementing roundabouts in the hallways to help with traffic flow.
All that on the first Chieftain News Hour.
Welcome to the new BHS Chieftains News Hour. I'm Jackson.
And I'm Aiden. This is our outlook at what is happening here at BHS. A new season means a new sports calendar as Kobe Brown sits down with members of the girls basketball team to discuss the opening upcoming season.
Bellefontaine Chieftain girls basketball is trying to bounce back from a 10-14 record from last year, but they have lost a couple key players by graduation. So we sat down with Lexi Gorham to talk about this season.
I think our season will be pretty solid. We've had a rough few years trying to get it together, but this year should hands down be our best year by far.
She is a senior. We asked her how she feels about being more of a leader this year.
It's a lot of pressure at first, but it's definitely a role I think I can handle, and I'm ready to take on the role as a senior.
We also asked how she feels that this is her last high school season.
It's definitely sad, but I'm going to make the best of it and see what the future has to come after.
Another senior girls basketball leader we sat down with, whose turn it is to step up as a senior leader, is Anya Mitchell. We discussed how she feels about the season.
I expect it to go really well. I feel like we have a strong enough team this year that will probably be better than last year.
Being a senior, she'll have a bigger role as a leader. We asked her about that.
It's kind of stressful because like a lot of like the lower classroom girls, like they kind of look up to you, so I feel like it's more responsibility on your hands.
We also asked her what her thoughts on this being her last season were.
It kind of makes me tear up a bit just because I don't want to leave like high school. I don't really want to grow up and take on like new and stressful responsibilities. So.
The boys basketball team is looking to rebound from a disappointing 2018-2019 season. Leading the boys this season are seniors Brett Belser, Carter Sterling, and Maverick Counton. Aiden Hartly recently sat down with a few of these seniors to talk about the season.
The Chieftain basketball team last year had a losing record, going 6-16. The Chiefs last year lost their leading scorer, Jack Clement, who led their team in the CBC, averaging 20.4 points a game. The Chiefs are returning Brett Belser, Maverick Counton, Simon Stolley, Declan Ashcraft, and Carter Sterling. What's your outlook on this year's season?
I think we're going to really be a team to contend with. You know, last year we really relied on a couple of guys to really supply the offensive load, and you know, we tried to bring it all together towards the end of the season, but it doesn't really work out. I think with the guys we have this year, we can really pull together as a group. And
Chieftains are losing 3 starting seniors from last year's basketball team. How do they plan to fill those roles?
Usually every other year you're losing 1 to 2, but losing a lot more, you have to fill a lot more spots with a lot more different guys and a lot of different positions. So it'll be different, but we'll make it work.
How does it feel to be a senior on this year's Bellefontaine basketball team?
Feels pretty good. We get to run the practices now and teach the juniors how it's done. A lot bigger role because we lost Jack, who was our captain last year, and so we all have to step up.
Carter Sterling, bouncing back from a horrific injury. He tore his ACL last year.
Go out there and play the game I've played since I was a little kid. You know, these guys are going to help me, and I'm going to help them. So if we continue to just play together as a group, we'll be all right.
What are your goals this season as an individual and as a team?
I want to do more than just shoot threes in the corner this year. I've expanded my game, so I have to drive the ball, rebound.
And how do you think the team's scheme from last year is going to change from this year's scheme?
We're running a different offense this year. It's called the dribble drive. Instead of having one guy up top at point guard, we basically have 2 guards.
What do you think the toughest games of this season are going to be?
Probably Jonathan Alder and London, because they were the two teams that competed for the CBC title last year.
Are you looking forward to any games this year against any other teams?
Newer teams like West Carrollton, Walpock, they're playing this year, teams I haven't ever played basketball against, would be fun games I think that we'll play. But other than that, it's same kids, we play every year, so we know their strengths and their weaknesses.
The Chieftains hope to have a more successful season and make a deeper run in the playoffs this year.
I think we'll go 16-6, and we'll at least get past the first round of the playoffs.
With the recent interest from girls in wrestling, Coach Hyatt decided that it was time to start a girls' team here at BHS. Dylan Cable and Deja Wilson talked with Coach Hyatt, Michaela Young, about the first season of girls wrestling here at BHS.
During the beginning and end of the school year, there's more than just the start and end of the year on students' minds. Reese Davis looks at the talks with students about the heat and the lack of AC in part of BHS.
As the winter breeze sets in and the fall leaves are gone, so begins the start of BHS winter sports. Although this year is different, this season Bellefontaine High School is starting an all-girls wrestling team. They hope to encourage girls to get stronger and more confident, rise up against the stereotypes that wrestling is only a male sport. Led by Mr. Hyatt, the Wrestling Lady Chiefs are ready to break barriers and achieve many goals.
The process to start a girls program is actually really easy. I went in and talked with Mr. Comstock and I said, I want to start a girls program. And he said, okay. And that was the end of getting one started. Then he just explained what goes into that. We had to it's a club sport for the first 3 years, and what a club sport means is that we have to raise funds for their uniforms, we raise funds for travel, we raise funds for entry fees, we raise funds for any equipment that we need for them. And we have to do that for 3 years, and at the end of the 3 years then we'll go to the school board and try to make a proposal for it to be a school-sponsored sport. I already went and talked to the school board about that we're starting this club team, and they all seem to be pretty supportive of it. So that was the entire process. It really just takes people who want to do something and then just don't take no for an answer. I wouldn't have probably started it if we didn't have girls that wanted a team, right? You're not going to start something if no one wants to do it. And we had 2 girls that were on our high school team last year, Michaela Young and Chelsea Horsley, and they had a great, this is what they do. It's the only sports they do. So they had a big desire to get into that. They have a desire to wrestle in college. So the more that we can get them exposed out to the college world, and a lot of these college coaches come to female events to see it, the more exposure they get, the better opportunities they're going to have. So having those 2 as the basis was already a really good start for me. We also had 3 girls in our youth program, Carson Newkirk, Bella Hughes, and Harper Penorwood, who are wrestlers. They're not girl wrestlers, they're wrestlers who just happen to be girls, and they are super excited for getting into junior high and high school and having a team of their own also. You know, the goals for the season, one is just to build the numbers for the girls, and that is a difficult thing. You know, we've had a couple girls who wanted to come out and wrestle, and through one reason or another they weren't allowed to, whether it was weren't allowed because, you know, I don't, you know, there's a couple parents that maybe they don't know a whole lot about the sport. Some parents, I think, maybe when they hear my daughter wants to wrestle, all they see is Friday Night SmackDown, and they're not understanding what the sport is. 2 is to, you know, teach them the sport, let them have fun in the sport, see that it can be an enjoyable sport, because a lot of wrestling is very difficult. It's very difficult when you're practicing one versus somebody else and they're kicking your butt. That's not easy to take. And then competing is just, it's a physical, demanding sport. And then 3 is just for whatever the girls' goal is to help them reach that goal. If the goal is, I just want to get in better shape, well then we'll definitely be able to help you do that. My goal is to win 1 match. Then whatever their goal level is to do that. For girls like Michaela and it's Chelsea, it's to win the girls' state tournament. Michaela has expressed a desire to try to make a world team for 16 and underage or a Pan American team. So she's going to be competing in the spring to try to make a team, either going over to Europe for Team USA or going to South America for Team USA. So whatever their goal is, that's what I want to help them achieve.
To gain an even more personalized perspective on the potential team, we asked our very own Michaela Young about her thoughts on the upcoming program.
What wrestling groups do you participate in outside of school?
I'm on the Ohio girls national team, so we travel like across the country to do tournaments and stuff. And around like spring, I participated in world team trials, which I placed 7th in. In July, I competed in Fargo, which is in North Dakota, and I ended up placing 7th at that national tournament.
What is it like to be a girl in a male-dominated sport?
It's not that weird anymore. Like in 7th grade and stuff, it started to be like a little different, but I've gotten used to it. And like the only difference really is just they have more testosterone and stuff. But like I get along with all the boys pretty well.
What are you hoping to achieve with the new wrestling program, and how do you hope to inspire young female wrestlers?
Well, I want the program to grow and like all the other schools' programs to grow so that we can finally sanction girls wrestling for good and like not have to wrestle in the boys tournaments. And then for the little girls, I just want to like inspire them to keep wrestling and like work hard and grow the sport.
During the beginning and end of the school year, there's more than just the start and end of the year on students' minds. Reese Thomas looks at the talks with students about the heat and lack of AC in parts of BHS.
Hey y'all. Hey y'all. So, there has been a problem plaguing the Bellefontaine High School for quite a while now. It may not be apparent right now, but, hoo boy, during the summer, am I right? So, the Bellefontaine High School has been struggling with a lack of AC. This has detrimental effects on students' learning abilities, and sometimes even their health. The lack of air conditioning has affected the student body dress code as well. Without a lenient dress code, students will just be like, hey man, it's hot. I want to wear less clothes. That's not cool. We're in a school. It's grody. Without proper temperatures in the school, students have issues they're learning as well. And you know what? Me and my team have even done some interviews. We've even asked students, can you work better in rooms that have AC?
Yes. I would say the more comfortable they are, the better they work.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if they can work better with AC because I've never had that amenity here at Bellefontaine High School, but I do know when it is indeed hot that a lot of kids are diffused and are sweating profusely.
I think my students would complain less if there was more air conditioning.
It's even sometimes that my projector will overheat in the heat and shut down and won't allow me to present.
Because I'm not sweating all over my papers and my desk.
I could see how like being comfortable might help them focus a little bit more.
I do think when the temperatures are more comfortable, students do work more productively. The hot temperatures make everybody hard to function, so it would be helpful.
I'm not sure if it's going to boost productivity exponentially, but I think that it might help a little.
Honestly, I don't think it would change too much, but I would say so.
For every degree that the temperature goes up, the student learning experience also goes down by 1%. And that's according to PBS. All right? During the August months, students often struggle to retain information which could be valuable to them for tests, which can lower their grades too. Students often struggle with health issues such as lightheadedness, discomfort, excessive sweating. Most students believe that more AC in the school will help solve a lot of these problems. And another part is teachers are usually expected to pay for fans and other ways of cooling down their rooms out of their own money. If the Bellefontaine High School applies for grants, we could get enough money for all the air conditioning in the school.
Ever turn the corner during class change and run into someone? This is a problem that many of us have experienced here at BHS. No matter how hard you try, it is sometimes just inevitable. Mr. Sigrist just might have an idea that can help with this everyday problem.
Bellefontaine High School science teacher Mr. Sigrist has begun advocating for the installation of roundabouts in the school hallways. We asked Mr. Sigrist to explain how the system would work.
At our four corners that we have around the school where there's lots of congestion, to add kind of a roundabout similar to the one in Dublin, Columbus areas, just to kind of free up the traffic areas.
We asked Mr. Sigrist to explain how the system would work.
A lot like a traffic roundabout where you walk on the right side of the road, and if you're turning right, you just peel off to the right. If you're walking through, you're along the right side, you just kind of walk through. And if you're walking up the stairs from a hallway, that is probably the toughest one, where you kind of have to walk around a central object.
The biggest worry is students not following the rules set in place by the roundabouts.
I think about 70 to 85% of the kids will follow rules and do exactly what they're supposed to. You know, if they try and run straight into a wall of people moving in the opposite direction, it might kind of steer them another way.
We asked Principal Dr. Nath to weigh in on the idea.
Well, I think it's a good one. A lot of high schools have some sort of traffic control mechanism or some sort of traffic control pattern. So some might have, for example, like a up-only stairway or a down-only stairway just to control that traffic. But it is an overall good idea because I think obviously traffic flow is sometimes an issue in not just Bellefontaine High School, but any high school.
Roundabouts. I think we should make a statue of Drayden George.
Thank you for watching our first episode of Chieftain News Hour.
Make sure to subscribe to our WBCS TV Bellefontaine High School YouTube channel to get all of the update and news videos.
You can also check out our podcast on Spotify at WBCS TV podcast or at anchor.fm/WBCS TV for news and content.
For WBCS TV, this has been Jackson.
And Aiden. Remember to make it a great day.